have made a mistake, a big mistake in logic. And I've only realized recently, consciously, that I've made this mistake. But I think I came across it subconsciously probably about 20 years ago. I started coming to this conclusion subconsciously. And the mistake I made was, I don't know what you call these people. I guess you could call them the judge folks by appearance crowd. Or I'll just say the appearance judgers. These are the people who think that they can read everything about a person just based on their appearance. And I think the reason why I totally had dismissed them when I was a lot younger is because they were judging me by my appearance and they were totally wrong. What I'm talking about are like the people who will assume because you're wearing old clothes or you wear sweat, especially the people that would get on me or sneak diss me because I would wear sweatpants and a t-shirt to class when I was in college, that it meant that I didn't take school seriously, that I didn't have any respect for anything, that I was disrespectful, and that's why I came to class like that. And I would usually ignore them, but sometimes it just got to be so bad, and even if they were older than me, I would just confront them and say, look, I'm just wearing what I can afford, which was true. It was true. They didn't want to believe that. Now, you know your parents, blah, blah, blah. It was one person, I don't remember exactly who it was. I think I do, but I'm not going to say his name because if he's got any sort of web presence, which I don't think he has, it's really not worth people trying to tweet him or harass the guy, even though I don't really have followers like that. It's just not worth the risk for somebody being wrong like once. It's just not. But I remember the conversation / confrontation. I was like, no, I'm dressing like this because I'm literally wearing what I can afford. I'm paying for school myself. You've got help. Say, okay, yeah, okay, fine, I've got grants. Yes, I've got grants. And yes, my parents raised me to survive this age. But it was, it was me, my mother, my grandmother, and my siblings. My grandfather had passed away long before that point. So I was financing school. The little part-time jobs that I had, I needed that money. And I literally was using that to pay for school. And this was even at a point where I had to wash up with dishwashing liquid because I couldn't afford soap. Now, I'm not telling people this stuff to get any sympathy or to feel sorry for me. No, none of that, because that was a long time ago. But I think from that, I threw away any sort of wisdom or any sort of correct stuff that they had, that camp of people had. But as I got some more life experience, and especially with somebody I was listening to earlier today, I normally reference the people who inspire me to do videos, but I'm not going to reference this person only because some of his ideas are so wacko that I'm going to draw a line and say I don't want that associated with my brand. And it's a shame because 99% of what he says is rock solid. But that 1% just totally not acceptable is enough to make me look like it's something wrong with me for even listening to him. So I'm not going to mention his name. But that camp, the appearance judges, they do talk a lot about discipline, which is valuable. And especially that type of person, and some of the tips that I eventually started taking from some of those folks, not a lot of them, but some of them, they didn't necessarily work right away for me. So I had to Jeet Kune Do it. I modified it and took what I knew was useful and it applied to me. Like one thing when people say like, oh, you just have to eat less and it's just calories in and calories out and you'll lose the weight you've been trying to lose, Cecil. That is true, but that is not exactly easy, because I didn't know that there were underlying health conditions and probably underlying psychological conditions that I had to address, that I had to figure out were even there, right? How you can't address something that could be holding you back if you don't even know that it exists. And that took deep meditation and prayer. And that is something that I thank the martial arts for, but more importantly, I thank Jesus for, because I firmly believe that it has been Jesus who has led me to continue training this stuff, even though I'm not a world champion or anything like that. I think Jesus used a tool that works for me because I am kinesthetic learner. It means I like to learn by movement and by touch. I'm a kinesthetic learner. I like to learn things by feel. And that way, it's a good metaphor. I think a lot of sports are like that. They are good metaphors for you having to sow, reap, plant seeds, use biblical principles, and it's something that you can see. The only other avenue that worked for me as something that you could see was farming, because there are a lot of farming metaphors in the Bible. And I didn't grow up as a farmer. I am the only one of my siblings who didn't, as they say in a family, who didn't live on that farm. So the martial arts metaphors, applying like biblical principles to martial arts and using that as a ground and as a way, as a microcosm for figuring stuff out in life, has worked for me. So the moral of the story is, just because somebody is saying something to you and they're telling you something that's wrong or doesn't necessarily apply to you directly, if they're trying to give you tough love and you know that what they're saying doesn't make any sense, don't just throw it out. Just hold on to it, because I finally started getting to a point in my life where I could apply some of that stuff, and I was like, okay, I see why they see that. I see why they say those things. And I'm not going to go into detail, because number one, privacy. Number two, people will take this and use this and run with it and be abusive. Now, I will say this person that has inspired me, David Goggins. And he said something in a Joe Rogan interview that I think summed up perfectly what I'm trying to say. He said in one of the Joe Rogan interviews, like, I'm paraphrasing, like, let's say if somebody's calling you fat, or somebody's calling you stupid, or somebody's calling you this, or somebody's calling you that, they may be trying to do that to be mean. Yes. And they may be being abusive. But you could be dumb. You could be fat, you could be lazy, or whatever. They could be being abusive, and they could be doing it. The spirit behind it may be mean, but there still may be something that you need to address. So let's fall back on the man that we all love, Bruce Lee, because apparently not everybody loves Jesus. So let's fall back on Bruce Lee. You take what is useful and you discard the rest. So that is what I am doing with everything. I've done that anyway, but I think I've done that anyway subconsciously. And when I read that in the Tao of Jeet Kune Do years ago, I was like, okay, let me try that. But now I definitely do it. There are just some things that I would say the way to make this work for you is listen to people that you can't stand and listen to your enemies, even if you think that they are totally just full of garbage. Every once in a while, they might say something that you can use, so you just take that thing that they can use, that you can use, and get rid of the rest of it. Okay, just get rid of the rest of it. So thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this with people who like to talk about martial arts. And peace, and as always, thank you for your time.